latest ITV news in the Tyne region.
With Helen Ford and Ian Payne.
Hello, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
On tonight's programme, fresh hope for the family of a murdered toddler from County Durham as the government considers their petition for tougher child protection measures.
The family using their grief for the power of good as they donate an artwork in memory of their baby boy to a Teesside hospital.
I think having that artwork on the wall is going to just provide light and hope during their dark time.
Plus disappointment for Magpies fans as the dream of holding on to the Carabao Cup for another year is over.
And we are still stuck in the same pattern when it comes to the weather. The cloud, the patchy rain, snow over higher ground. Is there any change in sight? I'll have your forecast later.
First tonight, fresh hope for the family of a murdered toddler from County Durham as their petition for stronger child protection measures gains more than 100,000 signatures.
It means MPs will now have to consider a debate on whether to back a so-called Myers Law, named after 2-year-old Maya Chappell, who was killed by her mother's partner after weeks of abuse.
Her family say the measures they're calling for would help to better protect and safeguard children. Our correspondent Chris Jepson has spoken to Maya's great-aunt, who is leading the campaign.
She was so beautiful. She was just so bubbly and she loved her food. She was always taking food off us and she was just a little diamond. Honestly, she was just such a bubbly little girl. Loved playing in the park, loved Peppa Pig. Yeah, she was gorgeous.
Maya Chappell was only 2 years old when her mother's partner Michael Damon killed her. He was convicted of murder and her mother Dana Carr sent down for allowing the death of a child. Leading up to her death, Maya's father had reported bruising to authorities, but nothing meaningful was done. His family have since campaigned for Myers Law, which would require authorities like the police to share information with parents if another adult poses a risk to their child.
We're asking for a child risk disclosure scheme, very similar to Claire's and Sarah's law, where you get a disclosure when you've got concerns that you want to raise. However, we're asking for a preventative measure. We want services to act up on that and go and do something. So if a father, like in James's case, he's allowed to take Maya away and that protects Maya from any harm.
In October, MP Liz Twist raised the issue at Westminster.
We need to support safeguarding agencies to fulfil their obligations and hold them to account when these obligations are not fulfilled. And we need to close gaps to protect vulnerable children from slipping through the cracks of a fragmented system.
I do not believe that now would be the time to introduce a child risk disclosure scheme specifically, but many of the proposals are reflected in what we are taking forward as a government with the wider children's social care reforms.
Despite that response from government, a petition calling for Myers Law has surpassed 100,000 signatures, meaning it could now be debated properly in Parliament.
I'm hoping that that they do listen, because it's child safeguarding. So why would they not debate it? You've got specifically Sarah's law that covers sexual abuse, Claire's law that covers intimate partner relationship, and you've got Maya's law that'll cover children abuse and neglect. It gives people a clear line of direction of where to go. So anybody in the street that has got a concern, could be a neighbour, it could be a friend, it could be a family member, can look at that, they can Google it, can search it, they can research it if they wanted to, and say, that fits of what concern I've got. So it gives them a clear direction. If it's hidden in another reform, it's hidden.
The e-petition will now be considered for debate in Parliament by the Petitions Committee. Chris Jepson, ITV News, County Durham.
The family of a woman who died after a suspected assault outside a Tyneside bar have paid tribute to her, saying she will always be remembered, loved and never forgotten.
40-year-old Lisa Denton died after suffering a serious head injury on a Saturday night in North Shields. Our correspondent Greg Steele is at the town's police station with the latest. Greg, what have the family said?
Well, Ian, 12 days on, the depth of loss being felt by her family for Lisa Denter becoming all too clear with their statement being released today. It was on January the 24th, just after 10 o'clock, that police were called to Charlie's Bar, a short distance from here in the town centre, to reports of a woman with a serious head injury. She was rushed to hospital but died the next day. And in that statement today, her family have described her as warm, genuine and full of love. The statement adds, Lisa wasn't just loved, she was adored by friends, family and her work family who knew her dedication and heart firsthand. The statement adds, her life was taken under tragic circumstances far too soon, and her loss has left an ache that words can barely hold. She was further described as good, honest and hard-working.
Greg, what is the latest in the police investigation?
Yeah, a 19-year-old, Liam Moore from Telford Street in East Howden, has been charged with manslaughter. He's next due to appear before Newcastle Crown Court on February the 24th. Today, police renewed their appeal for further information from witnesses. They say the area at the time would have been busy with passing members of the public and passing traffic. And they say that it's absolutely imperative that anyone who might hold key information for this inquiry come forward. They've also urged people not to speculate about this investigation on social media.
Greg still in North Shields for us. Greg, thank you. You're watching ITV News Time Tees. Still to come on tonight's programme.
The family is saying thank you to NHS staff through the power of art.
And Newcastle United released their hold on the Carabao Cup, knocked out in last night's semi-final.
One of the region's Labour MPs says there are serious questions about Sir Keir Starmer's position over his judgment in appointing the former Hartlepool MP Peter Mandelson as British ambassador to the US in 2024.
On tonight's Around the House programme, Rachel Maskell tells Tom Sheldrick it was an extraordinary revelation that Sir Keir knew of Lord Mandelson's continued association with convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein.
This calls now into question the judgment not only of the Prime Minister but the whole operation of Number 10 and the associations there. And I think they're the big questions that we're asking in the party membership today, is who is actually running this government.
What about the Prime Minister's position? Should he resign over this?
Well, if he's given so much power and authority to Morgan McSweeney, there's questions, is he really the Prime Minister at all at the moment? And therefore, I think there is serious question over his position too.
You can see the full debate on Around the House tonight, and that's a little later than usual because of the rugby, and the programme will be available to watch now on ITVX.
And there will be more on that story, of course, in the ITV Evening News after us at 6:30 with Charlene.
Coming up, Sir Keir Starmer says sorry to the victims of the Jeffrey Epstein scandal and for believing Lord Mandelson's lies, but questions continue tonight over his judgment.
Your Majesty, will your family help with the Epstein investigation?
Meanwhile, the King avoids questions over the scandal. 36 children are confirmed to have poisoning symptoms linked to recent baby formula recalls. And the deaf character in Peppa Pig helping to raise awareness. So do join us, those stories and more from 6:30.
Now, a painting by the renowned North East artist Mackenzie Thorpe has been unveiled at the University Hospital of North Tees. It was commissioned by a family who lost their baby at birth.
Little Angelo suffered complications while being born, and he died shortly afterwards.
Amid their devastation, his family commissioned the work as a way to give back to the staff who worked to save Angelo's life and for others going through a similar experience. Amy Sutton reports.
For 59 minutes, medics worked to save the life of baby Angelo. It was a life on earth cut so short, yet such an impact was made. He passed away following complications during birth on July 6th last year. Angelo's family reunited with the nurses who worked on delivery at North Tees Hospital to offer something back.
Angelo's purpose brought these people together. When the Stockton's here, we're sorry that, it doesn't bear thinking about, does it, to be in that position. We really want them to feel comfort.
The family reached out to Middlesbrough artist Mackenzie Thorpe and asked him if he would commission a piece of art to donate to the hospital which tried to save Angelo.
When it comes to the North East, especially the Middlesbrough area where I'm from, I respond instantly. And if it's not just financial and it's about something like this, which I can help, and then this will be on a wall by a ward. And if I can make a family walking past that picture with a child in their arms who's ill and forget that for 1 second, then I've done my job.
Mackenzie opened up about how personal it felt creating the artwork, as he had lost his own baby brother.
I have some knowledge of it and some feeling of it that's still with me. And when it came into my world, the idea, I just went to that. Looked at the commission, what they were writing to me, reading between the lines, seeing these human beings that I don't know exist, and putting that with the feelings. And sometimes I might be able to do it in one go. This one took 4 goes. It's about putting everything you have into it till you know that you're confident in what it is from your own belief, and the person who's the recipient feels the same.
The artwork will be placed in the Snowdrop Suite, part of the bereavement centre at North Tees Hospital. The space provides a dedicated and private environment for families experiencing baby loss, a place where Angelo's parents said they were so grateful to spend time in with their boy.
In an ideal world, we would hope that no families ever have to come through the Snowdrop Suite, but for those families that unfortunately do find themselves here, I think having that artwork on the wall is going to just provide light and hope during their dark time.
Angelo was always meant to be. He was just never meant to stay.
But in the hospital where he entered the world, this artwork, in Angelo's memory, will take pride of place. Amy Sutton, ITV News in Stockton.
What a beautiful piece of art. It's so serene, isn't it? And I love those two people embracing.
And Mackenzie explained his own motivation and his own emotional link to the piece of art very well in Angelo's memory, and for the staff there at the hospital as well. It's going to be appreciated by a great number of people.
Many people. Let's move on now. Safety experts say people are putting their lives at risk as new figures find millions of people across the country aren't checking their smoke alarms regularly.
Well, the research found, it says that 1 in 20 people here in the North East aren't testing theirs, and that doesn't sound bad, does it? So 19 out of 20 are. We're not doing too badly, but it's very important. Some people don't have any alarm at all. James Webster reports.
All the blinds gone, the windows cracked, the ceiling plaster is all starting to come down.
Assessing the damage from a fire that Jamie Warden knows he and his family were lucky to escape from.
We did have a gaming chair which we got for Christmas for one of my children, and that went up because that was right next to the couch, and the TV melted off the wall. But the main thing is it contained to that area.
And this, the smoke alarm that potentially saved their lives, waking Jamie and his wife at 3 a.m, giving them time to escape with their 2 children.
If we didn't have the smoke alarms, we could have slept longer, God knows how long, you know. The fire could have spread, escalated, and we might have woken up to flames coming up the stairs. You never know, do you? You don't know how it's going to escalate. So, yeah, that's very, very important that they were working.
Despite the dangers posed by fires like this, new data shows here in the North East, 5% of people don't test their smoke alarms. And campaigners say too many homes don't have one at all. 1 in 5 accidental electrical fires recorded in the last 2 years had no smoke alarm fitted. Fire crews like this one from Northumberland Fire and Rescue, based in Cramlington, are regularly called to electrical fires, particularly caused by items plugged in and left unattended.
Since April 2025, over a quarter of our fire incidents have been electrical fires. So make sure you're not plugging lots of high power appliances into the same socket, and don't chain extension cables together for convenience. It's also really important to be checking the wires and the plugs of your appliances regularly. So if there's any fraying, if there's any signs of damage, or if they're hot to the touch or making a strange noise, unplug them, turn them off, and seek advice immediately.
This week is Electrical Fire Safety Week, which campaigners say is the perfect time to get into better habits for checking smoke alarms.
So this is your standard standalone smoke alarm, and this battery will last a year or so, and it's important that you replace that when that battery goes low.
And those ones, they're a sealed unit, aren't they? What does that mean?
So you fit this smoke alarm and you never need to change the battery. You still need to check the smoke alarm once a month to make sure it's still working, but you never need to change the battery. And after 10 years, the sensor will have reached the end of its life and it's time to replace the whole unit.
So this is our wedding from 2022.
Back with Jamie, he's relieved it's just possessions that he's lost, all things that can be replaced. He knows how important having a working smoke alarm is.
Monthly, weekly, as often as you can. You know, it takes a few seconds. Get on them steps so you can reach to the ceiling or wherever your smoke alarm is and just press it. It's going to save your life.
We're moving on to sport now. Newcastle United's dream of holding on to the Carabao Cup for another year is over. Manchester City brushed the holders aside in last night's semi-final.
The Magpies were facing an uphill battle as they were already 2 goals down going into the second leg. And as Simon O'Rourke reports, it was a battle they never looked like winning.
The end of the line. Newcastle United's defence of the trophy they won so memorably last year was extinguished at the Etihad, but it was probably already over. Manchester City's 2-0 win at St James's Park in the first leg left the Magpies with too much to do. Yes, hope springs eternal, but only for 7 minutes, as it turns out. Dan Burn, who did nothing wrong, got unlucky. Omar Marmoush got lucky. 1-0 on the night, 3-0 on aggregate.
And they scored the first goal here. Game over.
The mountain was now too high to climb. True, Newcastle had chances, also true, they missed them. But when opportunity knocked again for Marmoush, he didn't miss. 2-0 on the night, 4-0 on aggregate, and while the travelling fans swallowed that bitter pill, Tijani Reinders turned the 2 to a 3 and the 4 to a 5. Game over, tie over before half-time.
Really annoyed with the first half display, because I think pride ourselves on being really organised, and tactically we want to be able to handle any problem the opposition gives us, but that first half I just don't think we were good enough individually.
The second half felt irrelevant. Nothing really mattered, except perhaps this. A really good goal from Anthony Alanga, his first for Newcastle in his difficult first season. The Magpies' first at Manchester City for a long time.
Anthony Alanga with the first goal at the Etihad since DeAndre Yedlin back in 2017 was the greatest moment of that game.
There were more chances at both ends, but it was really just a long wait for the final whistle. Last year's Carabao Cup holders will not hold it again this year.
Gutted. Absolutely gutted.
I came with hope, but not expectation.
We're here now, we've lost. We're going to go home, we're going to be fine.
We didn't lose, we got absolutely embarrassed.
Yeah, well, embarrassment is what, it's the only way I can put it.
Obviously gutted after winning it last year, and then, difficult game. Always knew when we went in 2-0 down it was going to be a hard game. Just gutted.
What's it been like to be the holders of the cup for a year now?
Last year was amazing, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it is painful. I think we obviously loved the ride that we had last year and lifting the cup and all the moments and memories that brought. It was an incredible experience and we were desperate to do it again.
This is what we're asking for, playing these games, big games, for challenging to get in the finals and playing Champions League. So you've got to embrace this, because 5, 6, 7 years ago it was tough going following Newcastle.
Pep Guardiola and Manchester City go on to face Arsenal in the final. Newcastle United went home to pick up the pieces. But it was another semi-final in a competition that's given the Magpies so much in recent times. As far as the Carabao Cup is concerned, there's always next year, and Newcastle United will always have last year.
Rugby Union's Six Nations starts tonight. The opening match, France versus Ireland, is live here on ITV1. Ahead of the big kick-off, though, the Newcastle Red Bulls have entered the conversation. The Scotland head coach, Gregor Townsend, today denied reports that he has agreed to take over at Kingston Park when his contract ends after next year's World Cup. Townsend currently has a part-time consultancy role with Newcastle, but he suspects today's story may be an English conspiracy.
pure speculation. I've not signed a contract beyond the World Cup with anybody, so it's a story that I think is being put out there to try and disrupt ahead of this game or next week's game against England.
So how frustrating, how angry are you about that?
Not at all. It's just something that comes out, things like this. I think ahead of the England game in particular.
Some of the world's best darts players will be in Newcastle this evening. The Newcastle Arena hosts the first night of this year's Premier League. Luke Littler, Michael Van Gerwen and Luke Humphries are among the lineup.
Now, over the years, we've had some really fascinating Roman finds in our region, and this weekend, another gem is going on display in Northumberland.
This terracotta head was discovered in a ditch at Magna Roman Fort on Hadrian's Wall. It was found last summer during excavation work. The figure is of a woman and is similar to a slightly better example found at the same site in the 19th century.
So this artifact actually tells us a really interesting story about the people here and the community here. So the find that was found back in the 1800s is complete and it's really beautiful, but we think this one is actually maybe produced locally. It's not of such a fine condition, but they were taking what the other head and they were kind of trying to mimic or make a mock-up of it. So we think that that's kind of a local product, which is interesting because it shows that there were people that were working here on site in that sort of medium. We get terracotta heads that are put onto bowls and dishes, but this one's a freestanding one, which is a little bit unusual.
A little bit unusual, and if you'd like to see that head, it's going on display at the Roman Army Museum on Hadrian's Wall. That's just above Holtwhistle from Saturday.
Right, bet the Romans never had to put up with weather like this.
I think they did.
Maybe not this long. I feel I'm just coming in day after day to apologise at the moment.
Yes.
Cloud, rain, hill, snow, now some strong winds as well, big waves at the coast. It's all going on at the moment, isn't it? So thank you for heading out to get these photos in gusts of around 45 miles an hour. Not the most inspiring day for getting the photos, but there are some inspiring sights out there, I promise. A few signs of the advancing season. A fair few snowdrops I found on the dog walk, and I know the crocuses and the daffodils are starting to come out too. So this is the request for tomorrow. I want some positive pictures to end the week. Of course, do go get the cloud, but also maybe some flowers, the trees starting to bud, maybe a dog running around. You can send your photos to weatherpics@itv.com. Essentially, whatever puts a smile on your face on a dreary day like today, because it has been a dreary day, there's no escaping it.
It's been a dreary few weeks.
It's been, honestly, the first couple of weeks of January were fine, then the cloud arrived, and we've clung on to that for quite some time now.
You have.
It's all, I'm not going to say I'm bored, but yeah, quite frankly, I could do with a shake-up.
Here's another warning. Away you go.
All right. As is tradition, we do have a snow warning in place over higher ground, particularly as we make our way into the early hours. Over 300 metres, around 5 centimetres of snow for the Pennines there. Over 500 metres, up to 15 centimetres of snow.
You say it in such a jolly voice.
Oh, do I? I'm trying. It's all I've got at the moment is the tone. Here's your forecast.
Visibility is clear today, both above and below the water. TUI sponsors ITV Tyne weather.
This has, of course, been the picture for us this week. Lots of cloud around, hardly a glimmer of brightness to be had at all. With the cloud, we've had patchy rain turning to snow over higher ground. Strong winds today, those gale force gusts adding real bitter feel to things, but the winds will start to ease as we make our way through tomorrow. Aside from that, it is a case of more of the same. The winds at the moment coming in from that easterly direction, that will continue. Low pressures lingering down towards the southwest. There's nothing too significant with this, but we do have those spells of rain, and although many of them are on the lighter side, there's persistence with them as well, so those rainfall totals have been totting up, and it's a similar story as we head into the weekend. For now, the rain is pushing its way in from the North Sea. We've got the snow over higher ground. There could be some treacherous driving conditions over some of those very highest routes as we head into the early hours. Patchy rain into tomorrow morning, lots of cloud around, temperatures dropping down to around 3 or 4 degrees. So into tomorrow morning, still very much a chill in the air, breezy, maybe even blustery at times. times. The winds will ease as we make our way through the day. You can see, though, still further rain. The brighter colours here showing we're expecting some heavier downpours at times as we make our way through the middle part of tomorrow. The temperatures are starting to lift a bit. No real risk of that snow over high ground for the most part. Temperatures at around 5 or 6 degrees. But like we saw today, once you factor in that wind chill, it's feeling closer to freezing. To Friday and into Saturday then, well, there's the area of low pressure, so that's down towards the southwest of us. That's going nowhere. Around that we have further spells of rain. At the moment, Saturday is looking like it will be the drier day, but still plenty of cloud around. Further spells of rain takes us into Sunday, hoping for some brightness as we enter the new week.
TUI sponsors ITV Tyne Tees weather.
Thank you, Ross, I think. In just a moment, the national and international news.
I'll be back with the update just after 11, which is after the national news, which is after the rugby. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.